recognize the distinguished ranking member, Ms. McCollum, for any opening comments.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for the courtesy. I would, too, like to welcome Secretary Austin and General Milley and Undersecretary McCord. General Milley, this could be your last appearance before the subcommittee, so I'd like to take this opportunity on behalf of the families of Minnesota's 4th Congressional District and myself to thank you and your family for your 43 years of dedicated service to our nation. For fiscal year 2024, the President has proposed $825.3 billion within our subcommittee's jurisdiction. That is a 3.2% increase above what was enacted in fiscal year 2023. This budget request builds on the work of the last Congress that ensured America meets our pacing threats and meets the needs of our servicemen and women and their families. This modest increase proposal for fiscal year 2024 is consistent with the National Defense Strategy. I would like to point out that if we review the growth of the defense bill over the past 2 fiscal years, we see a nearly $100 billion increase, or we could call it 11.8%. Each one of these dollars represents an increased effort to defend, deter threats to our nation. But I would argue that we have more than adequately resourced the Department of Defense in recent years. We must be both realistic and careful about the continuing trend of inflation defense spending well beyond this administration's request. Congress must be better about making the hard choices when it comes to the defense budget. We can no longer continue to fund out-of-date legacy systems that are no longer relevant, not survivable, or too costly to maintain in both dollars and cents. And the personnel required to maintain them could be better used in our modernization efforts. Instead, we must prioritize the modernization of our force and the investments in emerging technologies like quantum computing, artificial intelligence that will drive decision-making and the future of modern combat. The Appropriations Committee must also remember we're only as strong abroad as we are here at home. The previous Congress and the Biden administration made 2 years of key investments in the American people: transportation, clean energy, healthcare, education, and workforce development. If we fail to continue investing in the American people, then will we not only fail the next generation of Americans, but we will be unable to capitalize in the investments in our defense budget that require a strong American workforce. If we want to support the continued investments in our shipyards, aerospace industry, our microelectronics industry base, we must be sure that we are investing in the inputs and support those industrial efforts, and that simply is our people. To put it plainly, we cannot afford to fund the defense bill on the backs of the 11 other appropriation bills. And speaking of here at home, I want to commend Secretary Austin and the Department for the recent reproductive health care policy decision. The Department's policy is legal, it's fair, and it will provide our service women and their families the health care that they are entitled to. Turning back to the FY24 defense budget, I was encouraged to see the increase for climate change efforts. Resiliency at our installations is vital to our ability to train and to win. As this request works to track industry trends and standards, I look forward to hearing how the funds will empower our military in the future. And finally, you know how concerned I am about your efforts in the Arctic and the challenges we face from our adversaries there. I look forward to hearing how this budget will support the strategies not only in Europe and the Indo-Pacific, but how it will address threats in the Arctic. And Mr. Chair, I know how deeply impacted you were by the loss of your constituent at Abbey Gate. But I have to point out, it was the Trump administration, not President Biden, that negotiated the deal with the Taliban to withdraw our forces from Afghanistan. And I personally believe that if President Trump had been reelected, that there was little doubt he would have pulled our troops out early in 2021. Mr. Chair, I look forward to working with you. Once again, I thank Secretary Austin, General Milley, and Undersecretary McCord for your service to this country and for appearing here today. I thank you again for the courtesy, and I yield back.